This is the newsroom for today, Thursday, February 26, 2026. We're broadcasting to you on E1, SKAR TV, NTN, and TARZEE TV in Bartica. In the headlines, President Ali and Prime Minister Kamla Persad to meet Donald Trump in March.
It's a meeting dealing with security matters. It's dealing with some of the challenges in the region.
Extradition protocols take center stage as Mohamed's extradition hearing moves forward. Berbice businesswoman has been left traumatized following a daring robbery. And in sport, skipper Shai Hope says West Indies were about 60 runs short after loss to South Africa.
Sometimes when you don't adapt and assess as quickly as you would like.
And Lady Jags cautious of counter-attacking threat of Dominica. With the news, I am Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We start off by telling you that Guyana's President Dr. Irfaan Ali and Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Kamla Persad are expected to meet U.S. President Donald Trump in Miami on March 7th. Both regional leaders confirmed the meeting on the sidelines of the ongoing meeting of the Caribbean Community CARICOM heads of government meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis. Other countries in Latin America are reportedly part of the Miami engagement. There has been no confirmation that other Caribbean leaders will attend. This meeting comes just weeks after U.S. forces recently captured and overthrew the Venezuelan leader, Nicolas Maduro.
What the U.S. administration is having in Miami, as you alluded to, is a meeting on security matters that is convened by President Trump. And yes, I have been invited to the meeting.
Has an agenda been set?
No, as I said, it's a meeting dealing with security matters. It's dealing with some of the challenges in the region and to see how we can coordinate better in relation to those challenges. And this is an engagement that has been ongoing. So, as you asked, yes, we were invited.
Now, questions over how extradition requests are received, transferred, and authorized dominated Thursday's extradition hearing involving the U.S. indicted businessman Ashuddin Mohamed and his father Nazar Mohammed. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Sharon Rupchan-Edwards, returned to the witness stand for further cross-examination by defense attorney Sayan Durjan. The extradition hearing has been adjourned to March 12th.
The extradition proceedings involving U.S. indicted businessman Ashuddin Mohamed and his father Nazar Mohammed continued on Thursday and is progressing here at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. The hearing went on for the entire day with Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Sharon Rupchan-Edwards returning to the witness stand for cross-examination. During cross-examination, the handling and transfer of extradition documents took center stage. Rupchan-Edwards outlined the established channel for receiving and transferring extradition requests. She told the court that once the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation receives an extradition request, it is transferred to the Ministry of Home Affairs under long-standing protocols. Rupchan-Edwards explained that if she personally receives the documents, she may deliver them directly to the Minister of Home Affairs, Uneej Waldron. In her absence, she said the head of legal department would facilitate the transfer of the documents. According to Rupchan-Edwards, these procedures have existed for years and are guided by strict confidentiality due to the sensitive nature of extradition matters. She further explained that if the head of the legal department is unavailable, officials within the ministry would communicate internally to determine who is authorized to receive the documents. If no competent officer is available, Rupchan-Edwards told the court that arrangements would be made to liaison with the embassy to have the documents delivered at another time. Rupchan-Edwards further told the court that these measures are guided by confidentiality protocols, particularly in sensitive matters such as extraditions, deportations, and confiscation of passports. Defense attorney Sayan Durjan questioned Rupchan-Edwards whether those protocols were applied consistently in the case of the Mohameds, particularly regarding the timing of the transfer and who was authorized to receive and move the documents. Several lines of questioning were disallowed by presiding magistrate Judy Latchman on the grounds of relevance. Meanwhile, before the proceedings began on Thursday morning, both defense and prosecution attorneys approached Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman for an update following a request by Durjohn. The magistrate asked Durjohn whether he had received submissions from the prosecution, and he confirmed, saying that he received same on February 25th. He referenced a possible paper committal process, among other things. Nazar Mohammed, who had been absent from the last two hearings due to being ill, was present in court on Thursday. When asked whether he would consent to the proceedings continuing in his absence if he became unwell, Nazar responded and informed the magistrate that he would try his best to be present at every hearing going forward. Azzuddin and his father Nazar, who has been indicted in the United States on several financial crime charges, are each currently on $150,000 bail pending the conclusion of the matter. The court is proceeding on leave from March 2nd to March 9, 2026. The matter was therefore adjourned to March 12, 2026. For the newsroom, Sharda Bacchus.
We tell you now that all citizens can benefit from eye care support through the Ministry of Health's expanded healthcare voucher program following the signing of a memorandum of understanding with 67 private healthcare providers on Thursday. The major expansion removes previous age restrictions that limited the service to persons 18 years and younger and those 50 years and older. Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, announced that anyone requiring an eye test can now receive one under the program and, if necessary, access spectacles. Beyond eye tests, the universal health and cervical cancer screening vouchers are also available.
With all the vouchers that we have been using, and we use the lab voucher, which includes the adult and child vouchers. We have the eye testing one, we have the spectacles one, and HPV. So these 5 vouchers, over the 2 years, we would have processed 461,020 vouchers. So that's a lot of people, right? And I think, as I said, this has been a very, very successful program for us. We saw, for the 2 years, in terms of eye testing, we did 175,272 eye tests. In terms of giving out spectacles, we did 160,282 spectacles that were given. In terms of the laboratory tests that we did for children, we were able to do at least 13,112 such tests. In terms of adults, we did 91,501 adult tests. And in terms of HPV screening for the 2 years, 20,853. Now, why is this important? So if we look at testing people's eyes, we want to ensure that we started this program by looking at 2 broad categories. Persons under 18 and persons 60 and above, then we changed that to 50 and above. This year, what we want to do is to ensure that we open it up now for anyone who requires an eye test would be able to get that eye test. And if when you test their eyes, if they need a spectacle, then you will also have access to the $15,000. So I think it would now widen to everybody in the population. And so I think that would be a positive thing, because one of the feedback that we got from people is that they wanted this from 18 to 50. They wanted to be part of the program.
Now, students transformed classroom theory into hands-on innovation as they competed in the Guyana Monaco Mousetrap Grand Prix on Thursday at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall. A total of 16 secondary schools, with 4 of them from the hinterland regions, competed in the tournament focused on engineering and creativity and the use of miniature race cars powered by Mousetrap. The Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramson Jr., and SBM Offshore Guyana's general manager, Martin Chung, told the students that the journey they are beginning now has long-term significance.
Every single thing that you are doing here, this is where it begins. The engineering, the geology, the innovation, the teamwork, all of that is helping to make you better, but it's also helping to make us better. Because everything that the company is doing, everything that all of the companies are doing, and all of the work that's being done on your behalf and on our behalf, it's being done to make our lives better.
The demand for innovators, critical thinkers, and problem solvers continues to rise. The experience gained here mirrors how solutions are developed in modern industry. Each of you is taking an important step towards the direction.
A Berbice businesswoman has been left traumatized following a daring robbery. That and more when the newsroom returns. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. President Irfaan Ali's participation in the 50th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis was marked less by speeches in the plenary hall and more by strategic diplomacy on the sidelines, most notably a high-level bilateral with the United States Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. While President Ali did not address the opening ceremony, he joined regional leaders for Wednesday's plenary session and held several bilateral engagements, including talks with the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. However, this meeting with Rubio stood out, given Washington's sharpened focus on regional security, Venezuela, and Cuba. According to President Ali, the discussions with the U.S. Secretary of State were, quote-unquote, very positive and purposeful, centering on strengthening bilateral ties, coordinating of regional security challenges, and aligning developmental priorities. Venezuela's posture towards Guyana featured prominently, with Ali welcoming regional support for Guyana's territorial integrity amid continued tensions. On Cuba, however, Guyana's position reflects a nuanced divergence from some of its Caribbean neighbors.
President, in terms of Cuba, we've seen reports, and Guyana took a very unique position on paying Cubans directly. Do you think that other CARICOM states paying Cuban medical doctors directly? It's a
position?
No, a unique, a unique position. Yeah. Do you think other CARICOM countries, because some are facing pressure from the United States, do you think they should kind of mirror that model?
So the model that Guyana took is one in which, listen, the health sector in the region has challenges. We need workers. And if the Cuba workforce can give us nurses and doctors, and we hire those nurses and doctors in accordance with our local labor laws and international labor regulations, and we ensure that they're paid within the laws of our country and under the same conditions as any other worker is paid, that is, they receive their money directly, then I think you meet all the international criteria.
What is Guyana's position on humanitarian aid for Cuba? Lastly.
So on the issue of humanitarian aid, Guyana's position has always been very clear. And even Secretary Rubio would have alluded to the fact that there is nothing preventing humanitarian aid from going to Cuba. But the challenge that Cuba has is a challenge of power. Where do you store the food if you don't have power and energy to store food and so on?
What if you want to give them humanitarian aid, say in oil? How are they going to get it? Is the U.S.
Humanitarian aid is oil?
So that they can get power.
Humanitarian aid cannot be oil. Oil is an economic commodity. Let me make this very clear. Oil is an economic commodity. We cannot be in a situation where we are looking at oil as a humanitarian aid. Oil has very strict regulations how it is traded, and you don't interfere. You cannot interfere with that. And further, you're aware that our oil is traded through a process.
Now, Vice President Dr. Bartica is warning the Global South that advancements in artificial intelligence, or AI, could create a new disparity between larger and smaller nations, urging governments to integrate AI into national planning now. Delivering the inaugural address on Wednesday at the World Sustainable Development Summit at the Taj Palace in New Delhi, India, Dr. Jaggio said discussions on sustainable development cannot ignore the growing impact of AI.
AI will bring great challenges to development, but it can also bring great rewards for development. And so, considering electricity, every time you do a prompt, it uses now 10 times more power than a Google search. If you can think about a world in which a phone that you have in another 5 years will be running a model on it, which is smarter than the sum of all human intelligence, with the ability to self-learn, what would that mean for development? And so we can't use old frameworks, old thinking, to address the development challenges of the future.
A shop owner from Rosal, Berbice is grappling with trauma following a robbery carried out by 3 armed masked men recently. Shani Ramsing, the 69-year-old proprietor of Shani's Grocery and Off-Licensed Liquor Store, located at Lot 75, Reef Section, Rose Hall, Berbice, recounted a harrowing experience to reporters. She recalled conversing with a customer at around 21 hours on Monday when the men emerged from the back of her property. As they approached her, they locked eyes with her before moving towards a nearby yard where her nephew, Stephen Ramsing, lives. She said that after one of the bandits fired a shot into the air, she swiftly retreated into a section of her shop that was partially open and locked the door behind her. Stephen, 46, a security guard, was at home enjoying a meal when he heard a noise he likened to firecrackers. Moments later, he found himself held at gunpoint with one of the robbers demanding money and jewelry. When he explained he possessed neither, the intruders weren't satisfied and began to rummage through the belongings until they discovered some cash.
Oh, I'm so traumatized. Like until now, I can't me is not me. It traumatized me. Although it doesn't, because I went through this 2 times. You know, I went through it 2 times, and this time, like as I get age, I feel it. I feel it. Although they didn't get to do me anything, I feel it, because I imagine if they would have get me, what would have happened? If you check if I told you wrong back there with the amount of bush that they in the back there, where the bandits and make them good escape back and forth, and nobody doing nothing to the bush. I don't know if there is any owner, because I grew up here 60 years, and I don't know if there's any owner, but I never seen about it. But I think the town council should do something about it. It's very dangerous. Even the customer come in the shop, frightened to use the dam. You know, so I'm asking the mayor and the town council to see about that. We talked about it several times. We did mention it to them.
A new center of excellence aimed at strengthening agricultural education and practical training for farmers will be established at the Guyana School of Agriculture. Speaking at an event on Wednesday, the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, said the initiative seeks to provide farmers with hands-on experience and access to modern farming techniques, ensuring they can apply the skills directly on their farms.
We are also working very closely at the Guyana School of Agriculture to build there a center of excellence, where we'll have more subject on agriculture, where we have more practical subject being taught to farmers, so that we can integrate farmers into our program. So there are a number of programs that will come on stream in the next few months. As I said, these are important. These are important for us to empower our farming community.
We tell you now that the new Jawala Secondary School in Region 7, Kayuni Mazaruni, is on course to open its doors for September 2026 academic term, a release from the Ministry of Education stated. The $231.9 million facility currently under construction is designed to accommodate 250 students. Minister of Education, Sonia Parag, inspected the ongoing works and expressed satisfaction with the progress made in recent months.
We are looking at completion or at least getting it completed prior to just before the opening of the new term in September in 2026. I think that we can be able to do that. I think the contractor can be able to do that because, like I said, we've seen significant movement in the last few months. And I know that we have some final touches which may take some time. And so we're looking to put measures in place to have those be done as quickly as possible so that we can be able to open for the new term or have students be in the teaching blocks at least and in the admin building in the upcoming term. So we will continue to monitor it very regularly so that we can have an update and so we can, if necessary, within short spaces of time, whether that will be 2 weeks period, put other measures in place that we can accomplish the completion or achieve that completion date that we're looking at. So it's very important that we have the students from the primary top come into this school and occupy the space. We want to remove the overcrowding that's happening at the schools right now. That's one of the main reasons that we embarked upon this project. So I wanted to come for myself and have a look.
Your financial, weather, and bridge report after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. Aiden Markram smashed 82 not out of 46 balls as South Africa beat West Indies by 9 wickets to maintain their unbeaten record at the T20 World Cup. South Africa's captain struck 7 fours and 4 sixes as South Africa chased 177 with 23 balls to spare to move 2 points clear at the top of Group 1 in the Super 8s and put 1 foot in the semi-finals. The 31-year-old, who brought up his half-century of 27 balls, shared a 95-run opening stand with Quinton de Kock, who made 47 of 24, before the wicketkeeper was removed by Ruston Chase in the 8th over. Ryan Rickleton chipped in with a quick-fire 45 not out of 28 at number 3. South Africa finalists in 2024 should have been chasing a significantly lower total after taking 4 wickets in a power play and later reducing West Indies to 83 for 7. However, the two-time champions fought back through Romario Shepherd and Jason Holder, who put on a record 89 of 57 for the 8th wicket to drag West Indies beyond 170. After rebuilding steadily, the pair burst into life from the 15th over mark, Shepherd accelerating to an unbeaten 52 of 37 and Holder reaching 49 of 31 before being run out of the penultimate ball of the innings. Next up for West Indies is a must-win game against host nation India on Sunday from 9:30 in Kolkata. And Captain Shai Hope says West Indies may have been as many as 60 runs short in their crucial clash against the South Africans in Super 8's action of the T20 World Cup. Reflecting on the contest, Hope said it was a good surface, but West Indies did not adapt, having played for the first time at this venue this World Cup.
Obviously not the result that you wanted. Do you think it was a change in conditions and you guys haven't been here before, that maybe the batters just struggled to adapt to the extra bounce maybe or something like that?
There's so many factors that you can come and discuss. Execution, I think it always boils down to execution. But you're right. Sometimes when you don't adapt and assess as quickly as you would like, then you find yourself playing catch up. In this situation, I felt this was a very good surface. Actually, kind of reminded me of a South African service. The way some of these services that we played on in the last series that we played against them, I felt as though maybe 40, 50, even 60 runs short the way how the pitch was playing. But again, as you said, maybe didn't assess as well as we could have, and then obviously with the wickets in the power play would always push us back.
Shai, you've lost 1 game in 6. Do you think it's fair that your road ahead in the tournament should look quite as difficult as it does, seeing that you've been successful?
I wouldn't say it's a difficult road. I think this is how it's supposed to be. Come into crunch tournament, every opposition or every game you play now is supposed to be a challenge in some way. And this is the reason why it's the Super 8s, and then if you get to the semis and the finals, is the reason why, because it's the better teams or the best teams in the latter half of the stages of the tournament. So again, I wouldn't say that it's anything to jump out the board, but yeah, we got to make sure we're playing our better cricket now. We see a situation that could be faced or could face us in the next couple of days, so we got to make sure we turn things around quickly and get a good result against India.
Meanwhile, defending champions India kept their T20 World Cup semi-final hopes alive and eliminated opponent Zimbabwe with a 72-run victory in Chennai. Having previously gone unbeaten in the group stage, Zimbabwe leaked more than 250 runs for the second consecutive match in Super 8s as India piled up 256 for 4. It is the second highest total in T20 World Cup history, behind Sri Lanka's 260 for 6 in 2007. Opener Abhishek Sharma top scored with 55 of 30, including 4 fours and 4 sixes. All-rounder Hardik Pandya completed a 23-ball half-century with a 6 off the final ball of the innings, and Tilak Varma flashed an unbeaten 44 of 16. Chasing 257, Zimbabwe opener Brian Bennett showcased his talent, registering his 3rd unbeaten half-century of the tournament with 97 not out of 57. The 22-year-old, whose 50 came off 34 balls, struck 8 fours and 6 sixes, but lacked support with Sikandar Raza's 31, the next highest score. Now level on 2 points with West Indies, India no victory over the two-time champions in Kolkata on Sunday will secure their spot in the last 4. Closer to home now, the Guyana Harp Eagles head coach Ryan Hercules has signaled an intensified preparation phase for the regional red ball powerhouse, targeting a series of high-intensity practice matches to ensure his side is well equipped for the pursuit of a fourth consecutive first-class title. With an extended preparation window this season, Hercules is aiming for a minimum of 3 to 4 practice matches. The objective is to sharpen the mental fortitude of a squad that has become the benchmark for consistency in the 4-day format. While Cricket West Indies has yet to announce the 2026 schedule, the regional 4-day championship is widely expected to begin in mid-April. The Harpy Eagles enter the new campaign not just as defending champions, but as a dominant force seeking to extend a remarkable dynasty. Since the inception of the PCL tournament in the 2014-2015 season, Guyana has secured 8 titles in 10 seasons. A championship win this year would mark their 9th in 11 years.
Could you outline the roadmap in terms of the targets you're looking to hit as the Harpy Eagles prepare for that 4-day title defense?
Yeah, definitely. With some time, knowing with the setback with the 4-day tournament, we've got January, February, March, April. So what we started off, we wanted to make sure we get players, and my philosophy in terms of players and fitness, we would have used January up into early February to get fitness barriers reached in terms of the 2K run and the yo-yo. Definitely seen players improving and getting close to that 50 mark now for the yo-yo test as required by CWI. So we would have started last week where we're back out on the ground. Yes, we're here to get Everest. So basically we're getting guys now more zoning in terms of having that kind of practice session to mimic a game scenario, right? Bowlers challenging batters, getting themselves in the right frame of mind to build the innings and how we go about having a good productive session. I stressed this morning to the guys in terms of the mental side of things, in terms of training like a mental team, having a good mental setting in terms of when you're going to start your session, how you're going to go about doing your stuff.
Tell us about in terms of the amount of probably practice matches and how important is it that with this amount of time, hopefully weather is on your side, you ensure these guys are very much match ready with a lot of practice games potentially?
Yeah, definitely. That's some talks we have with the GCB in our plans. We're going to have a few practice games, potentially 3 or 4 games before we leave. I think it's important. Yes, the training session is fine, but I like the match scenarios, where the guys can be challenged a bit more, where the nets is not there and, they can actually see fielders there and they could actually try to execute better. So yes, we'll have a few practice matches before we get into the tournament.
Football news now on paper. Guyana's Lady Jags will start as superior favourites against Dominica in Friday's CONCACAF Women's Qualifier at the National Track and Field Facility, West Coast Demerara. However, in the Lady Jags' pursuit of goals, given that Jamaica scored 18 against Dominica in their previous match, head coach Omar Khan said they need to be mindful of the counter-attack while still playing positively. All of the remaining matches are high stakes, as only the group winners will progress to the CONCACAF Championships, which serve as the gateway to the Women's World Cup and the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Guyana lost 1-3 to Nicaragua in their opening match last December. Game time on Friday is 20 hours.
What have you been working on?
Yeah, it's all about getting players together. If you get them together more often, like we're seeing them now in 2 months previous that we saw them, you can build on from there. And yeah, the first game came a little too soon compared to the last game we had before that. So yeah, this is a lot of plus that we can get them in 2 months again and see them in April again. So then we can really build the team.
And what is your message to them in terms of their approach towards the match on Friday?
Yeah, stay positive, be aware that we always have to, against opponents like we're facing Friday, you can get surprised by counter-attacks. But rather than that, enjoy the game, play forward, play attacking-wise to entertain the public. So that's the message for them.
And just quickly on that, previously you've looked at a threat on the offensive, but at times opposition have found to, I guess, break down your back line and be very aggressive towards you. Is that something, maybe any changes you've made in terms of the squad and in practice you're looking to address?
Yeah, for sure. It's always also about the players that you have available, who are in. Now we have some different players with us in the team, so we can do some adjustments there and yeah, work on those results.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, and all social media platforms. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.